I'm Chris, you're watching FRAG-MENTAL. If you love summer and you also love cheap fragrances, congratulations, YouTube has just recommended the perfect video to you. Stay tuned. We all love cheap fragrances, right? Right. So in this video, I wanted to suggest to you 7 superb cheap fragrances that I think work really well in the summer. So let's get into it. I'm going to start with an honourable mention first of all. This one is an honourable mention because I got it for a great price direct from the retailer, but they had an amazing offer on it. It's from the house of Penhaligons and it's Quercus. So this is a very kind of classic citrusy, soapy style cologne fragrance. Think CK1 but not quite as sweet and a little bit more refined, a little more niche I suppose you could say, and a little bit more grown up. It's a lovely fragrance to put on straight after the shower when you want to smell fresh and clean. I'm not sure I'd particularly put this on if I wanted to go out and be smelled by other people. If I wanted other people to smell what I was wearing, I think I would wear something a little bit more powerful than this. But this certainly has its place. And for the price I picked this up for, it was an absolute no-brainer. My friend Tony over on the great YouTube channel Fradicted, if you've not checked out his channel, up-and-coming UK YouTuber, I'll leave his details in the description. He sent me a message to say, Chris, there's this great deal on Penhaligons. You can get Quercus for £20. It's unboxed. It's usually £65 for the 100ml. For £20, it was a no-brainer. I don't own any Penhaligons, so I thought it was about time I did. So yeah, I got this for 20 quid and it's well worth it. I'd still say at £65 for 100ml, it's still a pretty good deal, but just keep your eyes out in case Penhaligons have any more of these great offers on. So let's kick off the list proper with a Zara fragrance. We can always rely on Zara for a good old cheapie, and this one is called Weekend Till 12 AM. I'd describe this as pleasant, light and refreshing. The main notes in here are mint, mandarin, lavender, and there's some woods giving a little bit of depth, but not too much. It's quite a thin fragrance. It doesn't have a great deal of depth, which is why I think it just works really well in the summer. If you were to wear this at other times of year, I think it just might get a little bit lost, especially with the performance that we usually get from these lighter, fresher Zara fragrances. As well as the clean freshness, there's a nice little bit of sweetness under there as well. I wouldn't quite go as far as to say a bubblegum sweetness, but it's kind of going in that direction. So all in all, this bit of sweetness with the brighter, fresher notes just balances really well. So yes, as I mentioned, there are performance issues with this, as with a lot of Zara fragrances. This will project for maybe an hour, maybe a little longer if you're wearing it on a really warm day, and then the longevity overall is going to be around about 5 hours for me, so it's not great. But if you want to wear something that's cheap, that's refreshing, that smells really nice for 2-3 hours, then this would be a decent option for you. Prices on these Zara fragrances for 100ml are usually around £12.99. If you buy this in a pack, I think this comes with other fragrances also in the weekend little line that they do. I think there's 8 PM and 8 AM maybe. So if you buy this in a pack, you're going to get each bottle for a slightly cheaper price, and maybe someone's selling these on eBay, but still £12.99 for 100ml, not bad. If you just want to wear something casual in the summer for a couple of hours, this one's lovely. The next one is an ultra cheapie at the grand price of £4.99. Can't go wrong for a fiver, especially not with this one. It's from Lidl and it's called Essence. The full name on the bottle here is actually Essence Aqua Fresh, and this was very kindly gifted to me by my friend Nigel at the channel 2 cents worth, so cheers for this, Nigel. I'll leave Nigel's channel details in the description, so go and check out his channel. If you want to pick this up in Lidl, it's kind of hit and miss because sometimes, as with a lot of their stock, they have them in on the shelves and sometimes they don't. I've been in Lidl stores and not been able to find these. I guess it's like anything, sometimes they'll get a shipment in and then they'll get a rush on, people will buy them and then they won't be on the shelves for maybe a few weeks. But if you're in a Lidl or if you're passing by, worth sticking your head in and see if you can sniff these out. So like Aqua di Gio, this is a fresh, clean, citrusy, aquatic fragrance. It's got a very crisp, gentlemanly appeal. Similar performance for me to Aqua di Gio, so around about 2 hours in initial projection and then kind of 5-6 hours of longevity. So not the best in performance, but if you're wearing this in the high heat, I think it'll work just fine. If you find this in Lidl, I would say it's definitely worth snapping up.
Join the Scent Geeks every Monday as we podcast about all things fragrance. You'll find us anywhere you can usually find a podcast. Links are in the description below this video. See you there, geeks.
The next one is from Mughal, and this is a great, clean, soapy type scent. It's recently had a rebrand, so slightly different shaped bottle and a slightly different name. It is now called Mughal Cologne Come Together. There are bright citruses, the neroli is giving this really nice, clean, soapy accord. Petitgrain is adding a refined, gentlemanly quality. You can actually wear this all year round, to be honest. I do think this works really well in the summer, and I recommended it as a spring fragrance as well, so I think it works great in the spring. But yeah, all year round, good, safe-ish office type scent, but not a boring fragrance. If you're looking for a good casual summer scent and you want to smell refined and classy, this one will do the trick. The price on this is going to be around £30 for 100ml. Having a quick check at the time of making this video, I saw that allbeauty.com are selling this for £32. And by the way, I often get questions coming through asking, is All Beauty a legit site? Is it safe to order from? Yeah, absolutely. I've ordered so many things from All Beauty, so don't worry about that. Really good site to order from with great prices. It's hard to find cheapy lists without anything from Calvin Klein, and we have two on this list. This is the first of them. So this is a classic from the brand. It was released in 1994, and this one has a bit of a nostalgic association for me. It's CK1. Great fragrance, still relevant enough to wear today. CK1 is a mix of citruses, florals and woods. Oh, it's so good. And I think this is the first designer fragrance I can remember being marketed as a unisex fragrance. I'm not sure if it was the first, but it's the first one that I can remember. I think there was a big deal made in the marketing of this one. So I love its bright, youthful confidence. It's got this musky dry down which comes off as having this sexiness to it. And this is pretty much the definition of a white t-shirt casual fragrance. I didn't own this for a long time. I wore this when I was younger. I've recently added it back into my collection and I realised how much I've missed this smell. It's a great scent. You can pick this up for around £20 for 100ml. So we're staying with Calvin Klein for the next fragrance, and we're going to fast forward from 1994 to 2020, and this is CK Every One. So this leans more on the citruses than CK1. It doesn't have the same depth to it, but I'd say it's lighter and brighter and more refreshing. Prominent notes in this are orange, ginger and watery notes. There's also a tea accord which gives it this refreshing iced tea vibe. This doesn't have the same performance as CK1 because it doesn't have the same weight or depth, so projection isn't as big and it doesn't last as long. You're going to be paying a bit more for this as well, obvious because this is a newer fragrance. So you'll be paying around £30 for 100ml, so still a cheapie. It's fun, it's bright, refreshing and works for everyone. We are going so cheap for this next one. This is from Poundland. It's a take on Invictus and it's called Iconique. This isn't a bad copy of Invictus at all. Doesn't quite have the same depth, doesn't have as much of the bubblegum sweetness, and the performance isn't quite as good, but for a quid, who cares? Not really much else to say about this. An outrageously cheap copy of Invictus. The last one I've got for you is a stunner. This is a take on Dior's Eau Sauvage EDT from Primark. It's Blanc Pour Homme. It has citruses, beautiful spiced lavender and woods, and compared to Dior's Eau Sauvage, and just to be clear, that's not Sauvage, it's Eau Sauvage EDT, so the original formulation was from 1966, so this is not the one associated with Johnny Depp at all. So I wouldn't say it's quite as punchy as Dior's version, but it's still extremely well put together. I got this a couple of years ago from Primark, cost me around about £5. This is a 75ml bottle. I'm quite impressed with some of Primark's fragrances. I have talked about them in earlier videos on my channel. They did a great clone of Tom Ford's Black Orchid that was called a Noir and came in a similar bottle to this one. And that's the other thing, the bottles are all right. It's a plasticky cap, but other than that, it's a reasonably solid bottle for the price that you pay for this. Now, here's the thing. I don't think this is available in Primark anymore. I'm sorry if you were about to go and rush out and buy it. Maybe it's repackaged, maybe they have this same scent but in a different bottle with a different name. I'm not sure. But I wanted to include it in this list because it's one of my go-to cheapies, but also I think Primark's worth checking out. Some scents are better than others, but it's worth going in there, having a sniff and seeing what works for you, because for the price that you pay, I'm impressed with the quality. So go in there, have a sniff, and if you really think about the quality balanced against the cost, you might be quite surprised. So there you go, 7 summer cheapies for you. Do you have any opinions on the fragrances I've talked about? If you do, let me know in the comments, and also let me know what your #1 summer cheapie is. Okay, that's it from me. I hope you found it useful. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, keep tuning into FM and keep smelling cheap.